But first, we want to start this week with this week's headlines. The Ohio Republicans tried to pass Issue 1 this week in an attempt to circumvent a constitutional amendment later in the year to protect abortion rights in the state. Had it passed, all constitutional amendments would have required 60% yes votes to pass instead of a simple majority, thus installing minority rule in the state. Turnout was massive. The measure was soundly defeated, showing that the constitutional amendment that is coming up is now even more likely to pass and more likely to protect body autonomy in the state of Ohio. The Ohio Republicans effed around, and they found out. This social media giant, formerly known as Twitter, or now called X, or whatever, was served a warrant for Trump's account in January. Apparently, X decided it was not going to give it to them. X has now been fined $350,000 for failure to comply with that search warrant. Elon Musk effed around, and he found out. Fulton County DA Fani Willis is likely to indict multiple people on top of Trump in her probe pertaining to attempts to steal the electoral votes in Georgia, according to Rolling Stone. When the indictments come down, all of them are about to find out. GOP donor Anton Lazaro was sentenced to 21 years in prison for sex trafficking of minors in Minnesota. It's always the one who are the loudest who end up being guilty, isn't it? He literally effed around, and he is literally about to find out. Craig Robertson, not the actor, allegedly made a threat referencing President Biden's trip to Utah this week, saying that he needed to prepare camouflage and a sniper rifle. He also threatened Bragg and linked him to George Soros. Listeners to myself or Hal know that comparisons to Soros is a not-so-subtle dog whistle to anti-Semitism. The agents attempted to serve an arrest warrant to the subject, who is now deceased. He effed around, and he found out. And finally, Richard Roberts, Alan Todd, and Zachary Simpson, all persons involved in the attacks on the crew member of the paddle boat that was trying to get them to move their boat so that the paddle boat could dock, all face warrants for their arrests. More charges are also likely to come. While the incident has caused a variety of wonderful memes, and I am definitely on Team Jermichael Phelps, or Scuba Gooding Jr., or whatever other creative names he has been called, the moral of the story is that they all effed around, and they definitely found out. Especially that woman who got hit in the head with a folding chair. That was definitely stone cold. And that was this week's headlines.